Hello, guys, and welcome to another Revise in 5 with me, Mr. Schmolish. As you know by now, this is probably going to last a little bit longer than 5 minutes, but today we're going to look at 1.2 business planning or business plans. So, you might be faced with a question that looks something like this. They're usually 2 mark questions. I've seen this a couple of times on a few OCR papers now. So the question might be explain one advantage to Boots UK of planning business activities. It might even go for one disadvantage to Boots UK of planning business activities. Now, obviously, Boots UK is very specific to Boots. Okay, so that's where you're going to need your application, which we'll go through at the end of this lesson, this PowerPoint. But first, what you might need to know is what a business plan is. So quite simply put, a business plan is a simple plan which sets out details on product or the service being sold, where the finance is coming from, and that there is a demand for the product or service. Now, to break it down, what is actually on a business plan? So certainly the business idea, so what you're going to sell or what service you're going to provide, how you're going to provide it, and to who, which kind of feeds into market research actually. Next, you're going to have the sort of people, so who's going to run the business, how many people you're going to have in the business, what skills do they need to have, what are their roles, when will they be working, how much you're going to pay them. Then you might have market research, which is identifying your target market, who are they, what needs does your business meet, or sorry, your product or service meet. Whether you can carry out primary or secondary research, how you're going to segment your market, how you're going to also do the 4Ps, which goes on to target market actually in a few items below. Then you've got finance, so how much finance you're going to need to start your business, your projected sales forecast, your cash flow forecasts, average rate of return if you're buying new equipment, and things like that. Then you've got aims and objectives, so what direction your business is going towards, and aims and objectives are really useful because you can use this to measure your progress to see if you're successful or not. You got your target market, and as I mentioned, this is where the 4Ps would probably come into place. So the product, which is sort of mentioned in the business idea, the place, so how you're going to distribute it, where you're going to sell it, promotion, so how you're going to promote your product, what method you're going to use, and price, so what pricing strategies will you start with, or how it's going to evolve when your business becomes more established. And finally, you might have a section on competitors, so you know who you are operating against, so you can put in strategies and plans to try and effectively compete with those competitors who may be a lot more established than you are. Okay, so to actually answer the question, the advantages of business planning or business plan, you need to know the importance of a business plan. This is also like the uses and the advantages as well. So one of the key advantages of a business plan, it reduces the risk. It does this because you identify your target market, your competitors, you know who you're up against, which does reduce the risk of failure. You need to think about all the aspects of your business before starting it. Okay, now if you didn't write a business plan, you might not have thought about this aspect, and that's why it's a lot riskier starting a business without a business plan than it is with one. Which moves on to the next point. It does help a business succeed, as I've explained, because you think about all aspects of running a business. It gives the business direction. So when I mentioned aims and objectives, you know what you need to achieve in the first year, next few years. And again, you can use this to measure your progress to see if you've been successful, which is another advantage and use. And a really good key point is that it can be used to secure funding from other investors. Now, this is really easy to write about in the exam, so I would definitely pick this as one of my advantages. So without a business plan, no one's really going to invest in your business. Okay, they want to see when they are going to get the return back. They want to see the business idea, and whether it's worth investing in. Also helps allocate your resources by planning out carefully where the money is going towards, what you're going to use it for, so you're not wasting your money needlessly, which obviously would increase your costs and reduce your profits in the first year. And it helps tailor your product or service. Okay, as I mentioned when I talked about target market, is that you think about the needs of the customers and making sure you provide a product that is going to meet those needs. Okay, now you might need to also write about the drawbacks. Now the question is talking about one advantage, so you don't need this in this particular question, but I have seen 9-mark questions where you need to evaluate the effectiveness of a particular business plan. So you do need to look at some drawbacks. So the main drawback is it does not guarantee success. As I said, it does reduce risk, but it does not guarantee that the business is going to succeed in this first year. Okay, and it can't, because obviously there's a lot of things that will happen that can't be foreseen, and that might have a massive impact on business success. It takes a lot of time to write as well, so it's very time consuming to write a business plan. It might take months and months and months to write an effective business plan, which is obviously taking away time from starting the business. It does also depend on the skill of the person writing the business plan. If they don't have much business experience, then the business plan might not be that effective anyway. And it needs great implementation. It's all well and good having this document in front of you, but once the business is set up, it needs to be referred to time and time again, and all the practices need to be implemented for the business to be effective. Right, so going back to the question, explain one advantage to Boots UK of planning business activities. Now, I've not provided the case study here, but I presume everyone knows what Boots UK do and sell. So, to score 2 marks, you got 1 mark for knowledge and you got 1 mark for application in this particular question, because it does say, going back to the slide, the advantage to Boots UK. If it said an advantage to a business, then it'd be 1 mark for knowledge, 1 mark for understanding. But in this case, it's then 1 mark for knowledge, 1 mark for application. So I'm not going to go through what the answers include. As you can see, these are basically the benefits that I've just talked about. So an example response that SR provided is Boots UK trades varies throughout the year. Business plan helps manage to identify what resources such as labour are needed at specific times. So this is your knowledge, okay? Basically the advantage of a business plan, so that the action can be taken to ensure that when Boots UK is at its busiest, staff levels match demand, and that's your application, okay? Obviously you might not be able to see it at the moment because you would have a case study in front of you. And my tip for application is, if you're really stuck, have a really good look at the case study, highlight a few things. If you ever see figures, definitely refer to those, okay? Because that's easy application. If you don't see figures and you're struggling a bit, you simply don't get application by mentioning the name of the business. So think about the product it sells or the service it provides, its competitors, and the market it actually operates in, which will give you a much better answer, much more applied. Okay, and don't use the word product. Always use what the business actually sells. So in this case, Boots will sell medical supplies, healthcare, beauty supplies, things like that. Okay, hope this really helps, and I'll see you again.